So today we will be discussing the President's roles. The President of the United States of America is one of the most important figures in the United States government. His role is one that plays many vital elements, most of which are outlined in the Constitution, but some have been assumed and/or added by some who held the office. The first role of the President is the role of the Chief Executive. It is specified in Article 2, Section 1 of the Constitution, which states that executive power shall be vested in a President of the United States of America. Thus, the President is responsible for the execution of the nation's laws.
As Commander-in-Chief, in Article 2, Section 2, it says, "The President shall be Commander-in-Chief of the Army and Navy of the United States. As head of the U.S. Armed Forces, the President commands all military offices in both wartime and peacetime. The Commander does not lead the troops into battle, but he does stay in frequent contact with his top military leaders. The President has any and all final say in wartime decisions."
The Chief Agenda Setter. The Constitution requires that the President shall give Congress info of the State of Union. To carry out the provisions, each year the President gives out 2 messages to Congress. In the beginning of the year, the President delivers a State of Union address which gives forth the programs, policies, and legislation, but the President won't Congress to intact. The President also recommends how the federal government should raise and spend its money. And that is the role of the President.
Good morning, guys. Today we're going to talk about the representative of nation. We divided to 4 parts, which is representative of nation, chief of state, foreign policy leader, and the party leader. So I'm going to talk about the first one. He's going to talk about the chief of state. Liu is going to talk about the foreign policy leader, and Xie is going to talk about the party leader. So first, I'm going to talk about the representative of state. As one of the 2 national elect officers, the president represents all of the people. He should speak for no personal interest, special interest, and he's often the focus of the policy attention. For example, the president will go for the natural disaster like earthquake or something to show the nation's concern.
Natural disasters, that's what we're trying to say. Okay, good.
So, I'm going to talk about the Chief of the State. So, as Chief of the State, the President symbolizes the United States and its people. So, it means the President represents the nation when meeting with foreign leaders, and they meet them at the home or abroad. And the second thing is the role of the Chief of States. The President also performs many ceremony duties, which means it includes a medal to the citizens who have a big contribution to the society, or they got the lightening the nation's Christmas tree and opening the professional baseball seasons by throwing the first pitch.
I gotta talk about the foreign policy leader. Foreign policy leader is related to the role of chief of states. Foreign policy is a plan for dealing with other countries. The main job of foreign policy leader is to trade and keep and make friendship with other countries and keep the American or their country's security. Leader have to take an oath to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. And since President is the head of the country, he must give a constant attention to the nation's foreign policy and the country's security.
I will talk about the party leader. As the leader of his or her political party, the president makes speeches to help other party members who are running for public office. The president also helps the party raise money for its political campaigns, candidates, and programs.
To
talk about the qualification and terms of office. The formal qualification: be an native-born U.S. citizen, be at least 35 years of age, and have been a U.S. resident for at least 14 years. The Constitution contains no other formal qualification for the president.
There's general background that most presidents must have in order to be considered able to run for candidacy. And one of those is it's advised that they have a strong education, such as a college degree, to be more flexible in the office since they have very difficult ideas and situations that they have to deal with. Further, there have been almost 46 presidents, starting from the 1700s and the 1800s, that have had college degrees. And another thing, an ideology that our first president established, George Washington, was that he didn't want one man running for office over and over again, which would kind of taint the Constitution's idea of equality. And that was ratified in legislation seen in the 22nd Amendment, which sets a two-term limit for presidential candidacy. And other than that, there are more terms that Flores here will discuss.
The Constitution terms the president's terms of office of about 4 years. Specifically, the George did
Like mine.
did not went third term of all following.
I'm going to talk about the salary and benefits. So the president earns $400,000 a year, and he has a $50,000 budget for official expenses, and additional allowances for travel and entertainment. The Congress sets the salary. And if a change were to be made, the change in salary cannot take place until the beginning of the next presidential term. The president lives in the White House, and he can use Camp David, which is in the mountains in Maryland, for vacation. He has a fleet of cars, helicopters, airplanes, and the presidential jet, also known as Air Force One. Now I'm going to talk about succession. The 25th Amendment states that if the president dies, resigns, or is removed of office, the vice president takes over. And in history, the vice president became president 9 times. If both resign or die or are removed of office, Congress has the right to decide presidential succession. According to a law passed by Congress in 1947, presidential succession after vice president is as follows: Speaker of the House of Representatives, President pro tempore of the Senate, and the members of the cabinet in the order in which their departments were created. The nominee takes office only if approved by a majority vote of both houses of Congress. Thank you very much.
Thank you.